Hiya. In this video I'm going to give you an example of how to decompose a problem. So this is a sokoban game. The idea is to push the blocks onto the circles and get them all home. And it's not as easy as it might appear because you can get totally stuck if you're not careful. Once you've put a block against a wall, you can't get them out again. So I actually built my own version of this game and had to think about how we're going to do it and what sort of problems I'd have. So we need to store some type of data. So the character's position, we're going to need to save where the character is. So it could have an X position, and then we could add 1 to the X or take away 1 and move the character left and right. And we could have a Y position to move the character up and down. Then we need to store the map, so the state of the game. So I just used an array, which is like a list of numbers, and I decided that spaces were going to be 0 and the walls were going to be 1. So starting from the very top of the map, I'd have a 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, and so on all the way down. So when I press the right key, the computer's going to check my X position plus 1, and is that going to be a 0 or a 1? And if it's a 0, I can move. But if it's a 1, I can't move. So in that way we've got some logic that's clearly defined. You press an arrow key and it checks the space that you want to move into. Is it a 0 or is it a 1? So that's a simple problem. We've then got to consider the blocks. Now if I want to move down here, I can't. So let's say on my map the blocks are number 2. So I check if there's a number 2, I can't move. But that's not always the case. What if I want to move down from here? If I press down now, I can move because I can push the block. So not only do we need to check what's directly going to be in front of me, but what's in front of that as well. So in this case, I'll check the block that's below me, and I'll check the square below it. If the square below it is free, then I can move the box and myself. Now in this situation, I've got the box, I check the square behind the box, it's a wall, so I can't move. So it's those type of considerations you might need to have. And also, when you put a box on a home pad, we might need to count how many home pads there are and how many boxes are on the home pads, and then you know you've completed the level. And that way it's very flexible for designing more levels in a level editor. So the way I did this is when I check this box, this position on the game can only contain one number, and if it contained the number 3, well, it'd just be a normal box and I wouldn't know that there was a home pad under it. So I changed the box into, say, a number 4, so I know it's a special box. And when that box is moved off of the home pad, which would be a number 4, it would change into a box 3 again. And I'd know that on the map I'd need to store a home pad, so that might be a number 5. And I know it gets more and more complicated as you add more stuff, but that's pretty much the whole game. So when I want to move, I might move and check if it's a 0, but then I might also say, well, if it's a home pad, a 5, then that's also free. The other thing you might want to do is store the map for an undo, because if you get stuck like this, you just press this and that's it, I'm stuck. You might not want to start again. So it's only a small amount of data to save the whole map. So what a lot of programs do is they would just save the whole map as a move, and then when you pressed undo, it would just load the previous state in the previous map, and that way you've got all the moves you've ever made. You can go back in time, and every time you load the game up, the whole game state is just contained within one piece of data, and that really simplifies the development of this type of game. Messing about with lots of collisions and all those sorts of things isn't necessary at all. So it's about trying to see the simplest solution and make sure your data and your logic is clearly defined, and what sort of things are you going to be doing a lot of. So I'm going to be checking, can I move up, can I move right? These are all going to be almost identical. Instead here, we might be adding 1 to X, we might be taking 1 off Y or adding 1 to Y. It's a very similar process, so those moves are going to be the same, just with a different direction or number. So that will also speed up development. So you're now going to be decomposing the Space Invader game. So I've put a task on for you to do, and I want you to just try and think of some of the factors that might be involved in making a Space Invader game.